Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a look at MOTU Origins Wave 3 figure, Mer-Man. Mer-Man's one of the more prominent evil characters from Masters of the Universe, so we're finally getting a release of this toy in the Origins line. I say finally, I mean he's been out for a bit, but I'm finally getting him anyway. And he comes as part of the large shipment of figures I received from a Spanish retailer, and because of that, his packaging is horribly mangled, and it's the international version, so no fun to be had all around. I already complained ad nauseum, so I won't focus too much on it this time. So, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Mer-Man's packaging. We'll open it up, we'll see the comic inside, take a quick glance at it, and then we'll see Mer-Man himself, check out his articulation, his features, accessories. Naturally, I'll be doing some group shots, comparisons today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Mer-Man comes in your standard MOTU Origins packaging. However, like I said, international version, so it lacks a few things. It lacks the character's title under his name. Swaps out the whole retro play, modern posing for, includes comic. And then here on the back, you get his really, really cool artwork, sans flavor text, because they didn't want to have to write the flavor text in a million different languages. Instead, you just get more and more callouts to the mini comic. And for action features, they're also missing text, but this one just tells you to, have him wield a sword, and then the whole twist for, battle, pose, action, whatever. Lastly, as always, we get our cross cells on this right side. So you get your He-Man and Skeletor, as always, She-Ra, Roboto, who I just reviewed previously, Zodak, and, well, Mer-Man. So, kind of standard fare. The artwork's kind of interesting because it doesn't really have Mer-Man doing anything. He's just swimming in the water and he's looking up at the surface where He-Man's fighting Skeletor, who's riding atop a giant mechanical bug monster thing. I'm sure there's a name for that, but I don't recognize that. And then you also got these evil fish creatures that I guess serve him. He's like evil Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Aquaman, pretty much. Alright, so we saw that. Let's go ahead and open this up. Here's the mini comic that comes with Mer-Man, and it's just the standard Wave 3 core assortment comic. Again, without text because it's international, but you get the Kraken attack on He-Man and Roboto. Skeletor invades some little cross-dimensional space where Zodak is. Fight. Doesn't go too well for Zodak. And then He-Man and She-Ra show up to fight him, as well as Roboto. They save the day. And ominous return of Hordak thing going on here in the background. And then here on the back is just our cross cells for Wave 3. Now we get to see Mer-Man himself, and you can see he's rocking this unique chest armor. It's very nautically themed. It's got fins and looks to be like some sort of carapace from a crustacean or something. And then he's got his barnacle-covered sword here, which is a nice, unique piece. Now, interestingly, one thing that's not unique to Mer-Man is his head. Something I didn't know until recently is that Mer-Man and Stinkor have the exact same head sculpt, which is actually something that's very rare in MOTU. Now, body part sharing is very common. In fact, his entire body from the neck down is just the Skeletor body. But having two different characters with the exact same head is almost never done. I can think of maybe two examples off the top of my head where that's done. So that's pretty interesting because they're two very different characters, one being this aquatic humanoid and one being a giant anthropomorphic skunk creature. But it kind of works for both of them because depending on how you color it, you can either see, these crests here as fins or fuzzy ears. So, kind of cool. Neat little bit of trivia there. As far as posability, he's got everything you'd expect. He's got the double ball jointed head. He's got universal shoulders, an elbow swivel, elbow bend, wrist swivel and bending. Gets his full waist swivel here, which feels a little bit looser than most the MOTU toys I have. Not too loose. It's not going to flop around much, but definitely a little loose. Universal hips. Got a knee bend and swivel, a boot swivel, and then ankle rocking and rotation. So your standard fare stuff. There's really not a lot going on with Mer-Man, honestly. He's one of the planar figures out there. He has one weapon and a piece of chest armor, and that's it. That's all he's got. So He is admittedly a little plain compared to a lot of the other figures in this wave, and really the toy line as a whole. Here we get a side-by-side comparison with Skeletor, and as I mentioned, the entire body is exactly the same. The chest is just your standard He-Man chest, upper arms, then you get the Skeletor forearm ridges here, the clawed hands, your normal loincloth area, normal thighs, and then we get to the boots, and they're that like really weird leathery pointy boots that Skeletor has, as well as the three-toed feet right here. And Mer-Man, they don't even bother coloring his boots in. Like, they're just the same greenish blue as his skin, which I gotta wonder, does that mean that he's supposed to be barefoot? Or does he just have boots that are the same color as his skin? I'm not really sure. I know the prototype version of Mer-Man has like distinct yellow boots, so I don't know what the intention for this design is. And yeah, I mean, that's really it. Now, I believe Mer-Man, he was one of the first characters designed when they were creating the Masters of the Universe line. So it does kind of make sense that he would be so similar to Skeletor in a lot of ways with their like finalized designs. And it was probably wise of Mattel to separate these two so far out in the Origins line, because people might catch on that they're very, very similar figures. That may actually hurt them, right? People may not be willing to buy two toys that are mostly the same, just, you know, with some new accessories and a new head. I don't know, maybe. But I will say I'm disappointed that they didn't do more to help set Mer-Man apart from Skeletor, because there's not much to distinguish them, and he actually has fewer accessories than Skeletor does. Skeletor gets the added skirt bit around his loincloth, and even though I don't have it here on the camera, he actually gets half of the power sword too, so Mer-Man really does come up short and isn't really as good of a value as the Skeletor toy is, despite being the exact same price at retail. And this completes our look at Mer-Man. I will say, I'm honestly kind of disappointed with this toy, just because he doesn't have a lot to offer that we haven't seen before. He does luckily get new accessories in the form of his sword and his chest harness, but as far as the body type himself, it's just Skeletor with Stinkor's head, or maybe Stinkor has his head. But really, he's definitely one of the plainer figures to be released so far. Doesn't make him bad per se, but not quite as exciting as some other figures. I mean, when you looked at, you know, the ones we reviewed previously, you know, She-Ra had all this armor and accessories. Roboto had hands that could switch out. Your Battle Armor toys had all sorts of stuff. Ram-Man was really cool. He does feel a bit lacking. So that is unfortunate, because he does cost the same as any other core assortment figure at about $15, give or take. Plus, if you're looking to get him now, this far after the fact, you're going to have a really hard time tracking him down for retail. In fact, probably impossible. You'll have to import him, unfortunately. Or, if you don't mind getting kind of a goofier looking version, the prototype or Lords of Power Mer-Man is he's been released in a more recent wave, so you probably have an easier time getting him for a better price. It's really up to you. So if you want him, you know, because you're a completionist, it's probably worth your time to pick it up. He is one of the more well-known MOTU characters, so he does have a good spot in your collection. But if you're looking for an exciting toy that has a lot of play value, you might be able to pass this one up. Maybe go for the other Mer-Man, because he's got a lot more unique parts to him. Of course, that's just how I feel about this toy, so now I want to know what you all think. Do you like this Mer-Man figure? Do you think he's worth getting, despite how simple he is and how unoriginal he is? Or is he just not for you? Do you think maybe he's boring, or you don't like his design, or anything like that? Any and all feedback's always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at Masters of the Universe Origins Wave 3 figure, Mer-Man. And with all that said, I will see you next time.